Hey everybody, this is Sue Craig, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Cleveland, Ohio. And today I have another card that's a quick and easy one to make. This one's a Christmas card, however, you could use any kind of designer paper for the pattern on this card. I just happened to choose Christmas because I needed a few more Christmas cards. This card is a really good one to make with scraps that you have left over. What I used on this card was a 1 1/4 inch square punch. You could use a 1-inch punch. You could use no punch at all and just cut your pieces. If you cut your pieces by hand, however, you have a chance of not having these be perfectly straight, and it'll be a little bit harder to line up. But here's the card that I have for you today. It has the 9 patch on the front, 9 squares, and a greeting on the inside. We're going to be using Greetings of the Season again. I know we used it on another card recently, but I really, really like this set. So let's see what we are going to be using for this card. For my sample card, I did use this beautiful embossing folder. It's called Cute Crochet. It's a 3D embossing folder and it's in the annual catalog. I want to show you that when you use this, I don't know how well you can see it, but it makes this look like it's been quilted. The card I'm going to do today, I am not going to use the embossing folder so that you can see the difference. And let's see what we need to make this card. I used the Labeled with Love punch for my sentiment. It's in the annual catalog on page 58. You are going to need, and I'm going to bring our card back in, you are going to need 9 squares, 3 of one type, 3 of another type, 3 of another type. So 3 different patterns. 3 of 3 different patterns. See if that makes sense. And again, you can decide the size you want. For my card, I used 1 1/4 inch by 1 1/4 inch. The next thing, and I found this to be very, very helpful to use when doing this. I'm using a piece of computer paper. This is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and I'll show you why I'm using this. This is 4 by 4. It's a piece of real red cardstock. It's going to go on the base of our card. This piece is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's pretty peacock. And this is our card base, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. Now you might be wondering why I have a piece of peacock that is the same size as my white. I wanted to show you that you can still have color on your card, but you don't have to use a full card base. When you look in the catalog, you'll notice that our colored cardstock is more expensive than the white cardstock. So if you want to make your card base, rather than using the peacock card base, which you're going to have to add a white piece of paper inside so that you can stamp on it, just use your white card base so you can stamp on the inside, and then a 1/4 sheet of the colored cardstock. All right, enough of that. Let's get started here. The paper that I'm using today is from Sentimental Christmas, and I'll tell you, the reason I bought this paper was because it reminded me of the Christmas paper we had when I was growing up. I'm going to take this 3 1/4 by 3 3/3 by 3 3/4. This is what I'm going to use to match my pieces on. I also have paper that has white edges. What I found was if I take my red piece or my peacock piece, I have color all around it so that I am able to line these up right at the edge and right against the one next to it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just put these out so I can see what are the patterns I have. How do I want to use them? I have a cute little deer here, and I may decide that I want him in the center of my card. Probably do, because there's not a whole lot of other things. All right, so if I want him in the center of my card, then I know I need one of these, and it really doesn't matter whether it's this piece or one of these, but I need one of these and one of these, and then I need this one. Okay. Then I look at this row. I started with this, so I can't start with it again. So I'm going to have to use this one. I use this in the middle, so I'm going to use the trees at the end. It's pretty easy. Okay, I've had a tree and a candle, and now I need the bird. He's going to go down here. I need a tree in the middle and a candle on the side. So what I've done is I've put one of each of the designs in each row, going across and going down. Pretty easy. I've added my adhesive to the white computer paper, and I've put in 2 rows so far. I want to show you how I did that. I'm just taking my pieces one at a time, putting them up against the row that's down on the paper, and then lining it up so that it's next to the edge there. Same thing here. It's pretty easy. And I'm using tape instead of glue because if I need to move something, it'll be easier to do that with the tape. Now, you can see that by doing it this way, I didn't have to fool around with getting my borders and edges even. It's already done on here, and then this will nicely sit on here. I've saved time and I've saved some aggravation for myself. So now that I have my 9 squares done, I'm just going to add some adhesive to the back here. And of course I've run out of adhesive. So let's get started with this one. There we go. Again, I hold the corners of my paper and I hold it above where it's going to be attached and then bring it down. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to turn this over. I do 2 opposite corners and then I turn it and do the other 2 opposite corners. You really don't need a lot of adhesive if you have a good adhesive. It makes it a whole lot easier if you make a mistake to take it apart, and you're not going to spend as much money on adhesive. All right, we have our card front finished, and so I'm going to add it to our card base. This is going very quickly, so you can see that once you have the squares cut out, it's going to go quickly. When I put a card front on like this, I usually stand it up and I hold the edges together. Right here, I'm holding this side up so that it's not attaching, and I'm looking down here to make sure that this part is attached and that this part is at the bottom. Okay, we're going to need our sentiment, and we're going to need some red ink. So I'm going to get my real red ink, and I just used Season's Greetings for this. So I'm going to stamp it, and I use my silicone mat as a pad kind of thing so that I get a good stamping image. And then what I'll do is I will open my card. The inside is going to say, "May your holiday season be filled with warmth and cheerful celebration." Ooh, I love it. We're going to be attaching this to our card front. Sometimes I like to use dimensionals. It doesn't really matter on this card, but I'm going to use dimensionals. And because this is already raised here, I'm going to put my dimensionals by the bottom of the sentiment, like this. I'm going to center it. And then I guess I keep forgetting to tell you about the ribbon that we need for all my projects. We're going to be using the gold twisted thread, and that's an online exclusive. And what I did with this was I made a tiny bow that it has about 3 different loops on each side. So I made a bow with that, and then most of my ribbon I will attach with glue dots. So I'm going to take my ribbon, add it to the glue dot, and then I will add it to my card. And you can add it wherever you like. I kind of liked the top corner here to bring their eye from the greeting up to the rest of the card. And I want to show you the difference between a card that has the embossing and the card that doesn't. And again, I hope you can see the difference. Well, that's my card for today, and I hope you liked it. I hope you give it a try, and thanks for watching.